Hello again and welcome to another GCSE Computer Science Theory lesson. This video is going to be on Unit 4, the cloud. And I've put cloud in quotation marks because the term cloud is often misused. Cloud really just means not my problem. Cloud storage means we are storing things somewhere on the internet, just anywhere on the internet, as long as it is not my responsibility and not on my device. Now, by the way, the cloud isn't just about storing files online, it also goes for services in addition to files. So let's take an example of emails inside of your school. You've probably got student email accounts. Now, historically, those emails would be stored on a server somewhere in your school's basement. That would cost a lot of money to maintain. You would have to pay an IT technician to manage it and look after it all. These days, institutions find that it's cheaper to outsource that responsibility, to store those emails on the quote-unquote cloud instead. So instead of storing those emails in your school's basement, you would just be paying a company like Microsoft Office 365 to store those emails for you and provide that service. Okay, so have a read through these questions. If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then cloud storage is for you. So tired of storing your own data? Well, we don't have to worry about file management and storing files because most cloud software does that for us. Tired of clicking the save button? Well, usually cloud applications are easier to use and you don't have to worry about clicking file, save as, and then saving it to a USB drive or saving it to your hard drive. It normally just saves automatically. Don't mind strangers looking at your data. Well, when I say strangers, I mean people who you don't know. I don't mean like random people logging onto the internet and looking at your files. I know you can secure things with certain privacy settings, but when it comes to a cloud storage provider such as Microsoft's OneDrive or Google Drive or what's the other one, iCloud or iPhotos or whatever you want to call it, is there anything that stops those companies from looking at your data? So if you send an email through your Gmail account, or if you save a file to Microsoft OneDrive, or you've got a photo saved to the iCloud, what stops Apple, Google, or Microsoft from looking at those files? As far as I know, there is nothing that stops them from doing that, aside from maybe some internal memo that goes around their offices saying, by the way, don't look at our customers' data, you're not allowed. But there's no technical restraints that stops them from doing it. Finally, don't mind if companies data mine and manipulate democratic elections. Let's not go into that question, otherwise the lizard people will come and get me in my sleep, so I'm going to skip that one. Maybe we'll talk about this in a future lesson. Okay, so advantages and disadvantages of cloud storage at a glance. So cloud storage isn't as bad as I make it out to be. There are advantages to it. So outsourcing things to cloud storage could actually be cheaper for most businesses. So like I said, in the school example of having emails stored in a basement, it could actually be cheaper to outsource that email functionality to someone like Microsoft Office 365 than it would be to pay a full-time member of staff to look after your emails. Another advantage of the cloud is you can get your files anywhere, and you can also get your files quite easily. So yeah, as long as you're connected to the internet, you can share your files easily between devices and people. And also, one of the biggest advantages of cloud storage is that you don't have to worry about it so much. It's not really your problem. So the security, arguably cloud storage is more secure, because, for example, Google have invested lots and lots of money and time and research into security. They can probably secure their servers much better than me or you can secure our laptops. Not to mention their backup responsibilities. Well, they're going to be backing up our data for us, so we don't have to worry about burning files to CDs to make sure they're secure and locking them in a fireproof box. Google and the likes of Microsoft are going to back up all of our data for us, which makes our lives easier. However, disadvantages. Arguably, despite the fact that the companies like Google and Microsoft might have better security than us, cloud storage poses its own unique security risk. Because cloud storage is always on the internet, it does mean that malicious people around the world can just try and log into your account. They can try and guess your email address and they can try and guess your password. So because you're online, you're constantly a viable target. Whereas if you've got your files saved to a USB drive locked in a desk drawer, well, that's not on the internet. You know, random people around the world can't attempt to get to your USB drive unless they got on a plane, flew to your office, and then broke into your office, and you know what I mean. Okay, a really obvious disadvantage here, if there is no internet connection, you can't get to your files. There are some places in the world, believe it or not, that don't have stable internet connections. There are many developing nations, such as Wales, that don't have consistent internet connection. And finally, not your problem. So this is the final disadvantage, not your problem. Security and backup responsibility are down to the cloud provider. Well, I've said this twice. That was on purpose. This isn't me just leaving typos into my presentation. This is arguably a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. Do you trust Google to manage your security? Do you trust Microsoft to back up your files effectively? If you read the terms and conditions of most of these providers, there will be some clause in there that says, we are not responsible if there is a freak accident that destroys all of your data. Or, you know, we are not responsible if there are any security breaches. So, you know, it's swings and roundabouts whether you think cloud storage is a good thing or a bad thing. It also completely depends on the situation.